Chris Chan for KojiPop.com, and this is WWE Skis on the PlayStation 4. We're playing it on also on Xbox One. Other formats, very, very exciting. 2K games really taking the WWE format in another direction. Basically, the story is that Vince McMahon has to boost ratings for the WWE network in a manner akin to Crush Hour, and so he's organized a winter sports tournament. So you can see John Cena there. He's really chilly, which is why his nipples are sticking out. You can see a few goosebumps there in HD, but his skis are firmly lodged on his feet, and we're gonna hit the slopes. Here we go, my career. Wait, it's another wrestling game. Oh, sorry guys. Yeah, no, it's 2K15. Oh, right, yeah. Dyslexia strikes again. This is WWE 2K15. Lots of people not liking this year's version, with probably some good reason, but I don't know. I kind of like it so far, but it's lots of ups and downs, lots of hums and hoes, yeses and nos. It's always been a battle of like two halves. Has been the WWE 2K games with Ukes and then THQ and now 2K Visual Concepts doing some of the dev duties here, and it's always been like in-ring. It's been terrible for years and years and years, but it's always the out of the ring stuff, the periphery stuff, that's been really good. And this year the periphery stuff is rubbish. Here we go in creations. For instance, I can create a superstar, I can create an entrance, I can create a moveset, but there's nothing else that I can do. There's no create an arena, there's no create finishers, which I had thought was down to the animation tech being different. And so, well, it looks kind of jarring, blending animations together. But no, that's not the case. I mean, if you see some of these animations, they're clearly very poorly cribbed together things, and not at all, motion captured or anything of that nature. So I mean, a lot of the stuff is not. It's just missing. It's just straight up missing. What is cool is that you get custom logos, which you can just straight up upload pictures as logos. So hey, Bullet Club in full force. And I'm gradually filling out a New Japan roster by downloading some stuff and making some things and that kind of thing, which is always enjoyable. But I can't then have them wrestle in a New Japan arena because Create an Arena is gone, and the people that really like the silly stories, all of that Create a Story stuff is gone. So a lot of stuff missing just because, oh hey, new gen sports game or new gen sports style game. I mean, that kind of stuff, it tends to happen, but it's really kind of disappointing. But what can you do with these people? Well, you put them in universe mode. Universe mode is back. It's pretty much the same as it's always been. It's just, hey, have your guys, have all your creative people. You can add new shows, but not in new arenas and this kind of thing. I can edit the calendar if I want. I can go, oh, hey, I want to put a new show right here and wait for it to load and wait for it to load and wait for it to load and keep waiting for it to load and keep, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to back out here. Huge loading times all over the place in this game. Really, really long, kind of rubbish. You've got a few extra stories in here. They've kind of bolstered the number of potential rivalries that happen, but it's still kind of, you're just going to have the occasional vignette animation at the end of a match. You get these clues, which kind of shows you how you unlock those stories, I guess, or how they kind of happen. And you can check off if they played them or not. I don't really get that clue thing at all. You have rivalries happening in each show, only 3 rivalries per show. For some weird reason. Also, still in universe mode, despite the band split not having happened, not being a thing for the last 3 years, they've got split rosters in universe mode, which is dumb. But let's see some matches in here. I just finished that episode of Raw, so we'll just advance to the thrilling main event. Do I want to play Santino vs Tyson Kidd? Actually, yeah, I do, because I can show you Tyson Kidd's finisher, which looks dreadful in this game. And in fact, this should kind of show you the disparity with some of the guys that are on this roster. So the big guys, Cena, Orton, all of the top league people, Bray Wyatt, the Shield, that kind of thing, they look really good. But as we'll see, Santino Marella looks pretty PlayStation 3-ish here. And facially not much like Santino Marella.
Italy, weighing 233 pounds, Santino Marella. I'm excited for this one.
Maybe you are, King. This is another thing that's been common with all of the WWE games. The sound is always awful. You know, it's like whoever comes out, whether it's Santino or Stone Cold, there's the same sort of muted reactions in the crowd. There's no massive pops. The commentary is even lazier in the game than it is on TV. Really doesn't sound that good.
And approaching the ring, representing the athletes from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, weighing 205 pounds, Tyson Kidd.
Here comes a guy who can beat you in so many different ways, Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, he's really fundamentally sound, but can also turn it up a notch and take
He
to the
looks
sky.
awful.
You have to be ready for absolutely anything.
Look at his mouth. It's like a Mad Magazine kind of, you know, with the mascot for that. But anyway, for the actual match, it's a little bit better this year, I think. But I think some people can't get by. Oh no, what did I just do? Jeez. Let me restart the match here, because for whatever reason I forgot to sign myself into the game. 1-on-1, thank you. Join, thank you. I will be Tyson Kidd. For whatever reason, people can't get past this opening bullshit that's in this year. At the start of each match, you have this mini game going on where it's, oh hey, play rock paper scissors game, and then a lock picking mini game. To simulate the fact that matches don't always start with big moves, they start with chain wrestling, and that's fine, but this doesn't really in any way resemble what, you know, what happens in a match. It's just there for no reason. I think it's there because somebody told Ukes, oh hey, matches often start with headlocks, and it just feels really bad. You know, mini games are not the answer. It kind of reminds me of the first SmackDown vs. Raw game on the PS2, where it had all of these mini games all over the place. It had like a golf style swing-ometer for dealing knife edge chops and things. It was really, really awful. But I think the actual wrestling is better this year. Marginally so, and you have to play these every year to notice it, but it is better. I think, first of all, a big difference is the ring's a lot smaller, like a lot smaller, and I think for the first time, it's kind of to scale with the wrestlers, which is... It seems like a common sense thing, but always rings in wrestling games are just cavernous. And here it's actually to scale. It's you know, I mean, these guys actually cleared the ring in 3. Oh, hang on. Maybe if I shoot them into the ropes, you'll be able to see. But they actually clear the ring in about 3.5 steps, which is what wrestlers do. It's what you're trained to do. Is when you run the ropes, you clear the ring in about 3 steps. Who's he here? Nope. Okay, he just wasn't going to do what I wanted him to do there. And what that does, I think, it actually kind of fundamentally changes some of the balance of the game. The previous year's games had ridiculously overpowered running moves. It's running strikes, running grapples. You could just cheese the game so much that way. And the smaller ring and the addition of a stamina, or the re-inclusion of a stamina meter, has kind of made that a little bit better. Also, the animations, even though a lot of animations are in common with previous years, just these really old, crusty animations here in Yuxig's tech, they've added an awful lot more, mainly to do with the stamina thing. You can see if you're looking, I got my front row there, for whoever you didn't notice it. Underneath my health in the bottom left corner, there's a little purple and blue bar, and that depicts my stamina. So there is a stamina cost attributed to doing a lot of moves. That means you can't run about all the time, which I actually quite like. It means that matches start fast, end slow, which is, you know, for the most part what wrestling matches do. So I think that's cool, and they've added some animations to do with that. So as wrestlers get tired, they will, rather than just getting up, they will slowly pick themselves up using the ropes. There's this, you know, crawling pin thing where both guys are down and you can crawl over and drape an arm over. That stuff is cool. There's this where, like, Santino's on his knees there, and I've got an extra set of moves for him when he's on his knees. I think that stuff is decent. It's not a huge addition that it should be. And it is still fundamentally the same. It is still extra grapple, it's still time your reversals, it is still all about, you know, harder difficulties, harder wrestlers just cheesing the reversal button, basically, which feels unfair. It is still the dodgy AI, which means the tag matches and multi-man matches are pretty much unplayable, still. And, you know, two secrets there, because I didn't know what Tyson Kidd's signature move is. Oh dear. Come here. Come on then. Let's be enemy. Oh no. Oh no. Oh dear. Dropped him on the apron. The Japanese audio wrestling co-host, W.H. Park, would not be a fan of that particular maneuver. Cheesing apron spots. I think planches are harder to do this year, diving out of the ring. I don't know why. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to grab the referee. Common sense, okay. Yeah, I don't know why they made that stuff harder, but it's harder. For no particular reason. And kicking out, I think. See, kicking out is a lot harder this year. The bar that you're supposed to hold to pull up just gets ridiculously high. So yeah, sorry, I missed out on hitting Tyson Kidd's finisher there because I was stupid, but he did this horrible, it's a blockbuster, but it's clearly, we animated a diving spear and then a flip at the end, and there's just such a jar and a disconnect that it feels like they created this with create a finisher or whatever. It is not good. A lot of the animation is pretty bad. And also the weird universe booking system kind of things. Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns should be on main event, and not even the main event of main event. It should be second match on main event. Punk and Ambrose, yeah, why not? That's weird. It's just weird. Jeez. So yeah, I mean, universe mode is there. I still like the idea of it way more than what universe mode actually is. Very rarely does anything happen. It's a little bit dull. But it is this, kind of decent dollhouse. It's just nowhere near what it should be. There needs to be a lot more kind of, I don't know, AI directing going on there, and it needs to be better handled. But you've also got 2K Showcase and My Career. So these are the two main single player modes. 2K Showcase is this idea where there's going to be a series of rivalries here. So you got 2 on the disc, and then they're selling more further down the line, where there's of course there's a season pass for this stuff. And the idea is it's supposed to bring you classic rivalries over the years. That's awesome. The problem is it's given you Shawn Michaels Triple H from 2002 and Punk Cena from 2011 off the bat. And those are crappy. Those are shit, right? Because it was like Punk and Cena, they had a couple of decent matches in 2011, but it was all mired in one of the biggest wastes of an angle of all time, right? Where Punk walked out and then they brought him back too quickly, and then you had Kevin Nash involved. It was just awful. And these Michaels and Triple H, they had a few matches, but it was all kind of spread out over a number of months, and it was never really the feeling that they were feuding, they were going hot for a long period of time. It was just something, we'll put it on the back burner and then we'll bring it back, and we'll put it on the back burner and then bring it back. So I mean, here I've just done the first one here, which is, you know, Michaels and Triple H on SummerSlam 2002. That makes sense. And then after that, it's like Triple H and Kane, where it's like the Katie Vick angle, and they're wrestling in a casket match. And like, well, yeah, because they have to fill this out, and it doesn't make sense. It's like, why did you choose these rivalries? These as DLC would be fine. But, I mean, if you've got the best rivalries, having done 30 years of WrestleMania, which was really extensive last year, and having done, what was it, the Attitude Era mode, which was, again, very comprehensive last year, 2 years ago, why not do actually famous rivalries? You know, I mean, it's like, okay, 2K Showcase, we're going to have great rivalries. Okay, let's have Austin McMahon, or Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, or Sting's in the fucking game. Why not Sting and Ric Flair? You know, why not these instead of these kind of not very good rivalries? I don't know. Also, yeah, this so far I've been pretty crappy. I've tried this match 3 times and I haven't managed to beat it. It's kind of frustrating. This mode is kind of frustrating, but I've often found like 30 years of WrestleMania and the Attitude Era thing kind of frustrating, and I wound up just putting them on easy so I could do all the objectives and then beat the game or whatever. Let's skip through this video, which is, you know, I mean, the videos are pretty good, but that's to be expected. It's basically the main match, the usual matches, and then it adds in little mini objectives as you go, and if you perform all the side objectives, then hey, you get extra unlocks and that kind of thing. So you can see the crowd looks fairly populated, but not great. Cena's model looks amazing here, but why is his belt around, like, just tucked under his nipples? It looks like really strange. It's, you know, a lot of the stuff is kind of one size fits all on the animation front, which is disappointing. You can see it levitating. It's just like, you know, it's like Uncanny Valley. I think, like, the more little problems that you spot, then the bigger an issue it becomes, and that kind of sucks. And then it'll do, what you can really see is when it's going to do the formal ring intros, kind of how, again, the discrepancy here. Oh, okay, sorry, I skipped it. But, I mean, it's, the formal ring intros are just the same as they've been for the last 2 years, and it's just been the same one-size-fits-all for the champion holding the belt over his head, regardless of A, which wrestler it is, and B, the height and weight of that wrestler. So it's still going to be, if Big Show has the belt, he still squats down. He almost drops down to a knee to hold the belt over his head, and it looks awful. You know, it's just weird. You know, I mean, they didn't show off the game an awful lot, and they didn't go through the same usual preview cycle that it does, and I think probably because a lot of the stuff is really janky, and they didn't, you know, it feels that despite a lot of these visual improvements on some degree, that they were just rushed and they ran out of time or whatever, and it just looks, you know, a lot of the legacy stuff looks really awful, like especially so now, because it's on yet another generation of hardware. And when you have, you know, when you have kind of a lot of the PS3 animations taking stuff from Here Comes the Pain, then you kind of go, oh, that looks crappy. But when you have PS4 having PS2 animations, that is just, you know, it's kind of like for shame kind of thing. That same reversal, leg sweep reversal, the same armbar reversal has been in for years. Absolutely years, unchanged, and that's just not good enough.
And there's the reversal from CM Punk.
But I mean, a lot of, again, with the reduced pace, it adds a lot of impact to strikes, which is cool. I never really used to use strikes very much before, but there's kind of a reason to use them because they do feel a lot more weighty this year.
And now he wants to lead with the WWE Championship, which was created by Vince Sr.
Who will ever forget 1997 Survivor Series?
Did Punk ever do that? I don't think he ever did. It's something I've only ever seen him do in these WWE games. Just that flicking Galikati neck breaker.
Mr. McMahon wants to get Punk under contract, and Punk still refuses.
Luckily, King, for Mr.
Yeah,
McMahon,
I mean,
he's
it's
got one
just,
last resort. What's that?
I don't know. It's bizarre. I think it's also not a great. It doesn't introduce itself to you very well. I think it kind of assumes that you buy the game every year, and so you know what the game's about, and so it kind of starts you off with these difficult matches in Showcase, and it kind of, we'll see in my career, it starts incredibly slow, so it really doesn't set good first impressions at all, and then by that point when it's like, oh, this kind of starts off kind of weak, these rivalries are kind of weak, and career mode starts off really slow. I kind of like career mode, actually. You know, I'll show you in a bit. I'm gonna trigger a cutscene here, and then I have to pay attention and do a QTE, as is traditional. Yeah, I mean, the career mode starts kind of slow, the rivalry stuff's kind of weak, and you notice that there's so much missing from the Create Suite, which used to be, I mean, one of the best, if not the best, kind of collections of user-generated content just in video games, anywhere. Not just wrestling video games, but just anywhere in games. And so, you know, all that stuff not being there and being kind of crappy just winds up, you have like shit. You wind up having this opinion, I think, that the game's a lot worse than it actually is, and you kind of get blinded to the fact that actually a lot of the wrestling is pretty good. I think it's better anyway. It's still a Ukes wrestling game, and that is still crushingly disappointing. Because it just needs to change, man. It really does. I don't know whether it was just a case of they signed a 25-year contract, or what have you, but I mean, it's just, a lot of it's really bad, and just too familiar, you know. I think the changes that they have made in ring are welcome, but it's not quite ready yet. In my book, it's still not quite there. That leg sweep again. Like, why? Oh no, he's gonna hit me with an FU. I did counter that. Ah, hooray. Finally. Good. The last two times I did all the objectives, critically damaged him, then the last objective is hit the GTS, and so I'd hit the GTS, and he'd counter it, hit me with an FU, and then I would lose because I'm crap at the kicking out of pins minigame.
Can you imagine if he loses here to Punk?
You know, we asked that same
Hey!
Oh, and a GTS!
I gotta pay attention. And I'm gonna. Oh god, this match isn't over. Seriously? Oh.
That's not gonna help Punk.
Not at all, because remember, Cena's got champion's advantage here. If Cena's counted
It's gonna say win by a pinfall. Let me get him back in, hit the GTS again. He's gonna block it, hit melee. I will lose.
You're right about that, but that's 240 pounds of dead weight, but he gets it back in. And now Punk has to try to cover it.
Oh yeah.
Mr. McMahon and the executive vice president of talent relations,
What the hell does Vince McMahon look like? Jeez. The state of Vince McMahon. Wow, he looks awful. Look at him, look at him, look at him. He looks awful. He looks abysmal. I think he's melted.
Not the cheap way.
What's wrong with him? Oh my god. Ah, shit. What? I mean, I hit both of those. I hit what? I don't understand. I hit both the buttons. And now he's still gonna win. He's gonna win. He's gonna win. This is gonna be the worst.
Cena's doing everything in his power to ensure the WWE champ. We gotta cover.
Hey. Okay. Get up. No. This is why you always have ring escape as one of your abilities. Get out of it. Yay. Good. Good. Away from the ropes, please. Thank you very much.
There's the cover. Can he do it?
Hooray. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you have good. You have like decent people in a match with decent stats and what have you, and there's a good bit feeling of back and forth. I think like far more so than in other years. Definitely far more than last year. I really do think like it's in part the new animations, it's in part the stamina system. The in-ring is significantly better. I don't know whether it's quite good enough to kind of make up for a lot of the stuff that isn't good out of the ring, but the in-ring is better, and that's encouraging.
Del Rio, the Money in the Bank winner, and Del Rio's going to come down and try to cash it in for the title. Oh, look out! Desperate time.
Del Rio does not look good either.
Punk caught him with a roundhouse kick.
Like Punk's body looks good, but he clearly had already left by the time they were scanning his face. Vince McMahon, I have no idea what's going on with him. It just looks nothing like the guy.
Mr. McMahon's legacy of the WWE Championship has gone up in smoke.
Looking for Mr. McMahon. What's he gonna do? This is awful.
I actually, on WWE 2K12, wrote a big, long fantasy booking thing of how they should have done Punk and this angle after they really badly botched it. And I thought it was quite good, my version of it. But now I have to relive what actually happened. That's not good at all. Because, yeah, from here, it's going to say, well, yeah, now you're going to go from the Punk-Cena rivalry, which is what they should be about, to, hey, here's Rey Mysterio versus John Cena, and some matches that you don't really care about. So that's kind of dumb. Anyway. The last thing we got here is career mode, which a lot of this is, I think, is probably the most heavily criticized part of the game this year. I can completely see why, but I also kind of like it. In a weird, self-abusing kind of way. I've also only played an hour and a half. This creative version of me looks nothing like me, but it looks more like me than Vince McMahon looks like Vince McMahon. So there. I've gone through the tutorials and stuff, and the first sort of, it has you do 3 or 4 practice matches in the Performance Center ring with nothing happening. No arenas or anything like that. I've just signed up to NXT, so I kind of like that development. It's like, okay, you know, it's gonna put you through the grind. A lot of people really hate the grind. This is the thing. It's slow. It's taken me an hour and a half to get on TV here. That's how slow it is. But if you kind of, from a smarky internet fan point of view of, you know, that's what it actually is like. You kind of linger in developmental for ages and ages and ages, and then you wrestle someone fake like El Hondero for a while. On NXT, and you linger there for ages, and then you'll keep on getting booked on Superstars and nowhere else for ages. You know, that's what wrestling is. So I kind of like that in a weird way. It's just that it's very devoid of personality. It starts out okay because you have kind of Bill DeMott doing voiced stuff, and then it's apart from that, a lot of it's handled in text. Like, this is just eerily quiet. I suppose actually I took out the background music. You know, we should be listening to Wiz Khalifa here or something, but I took that out just so that I didn't get third-party content being matched to me. So yeah, I was jumping up and down. That was me there. Oh, I should skip that. Oh no, what have I got? 10 seconds? I hope that track isn't licensed. Because it's going to kill like 11 minutes of my thing. So that was my big entrance. Presumably there was a little cutscene there. That would have been exciting. But here we go.
And you can feel that electricity.
Yeah, you can tell right away that we're moving a lot slower. And the game starts you off with awful stats, and the idea is you are supposed to kind of build yourself up, I guess. But it's all kind of things like at the moment I don't have the ability to, like, I had to unlock my ability to float over into pinfalls from suplexes and things, which I like to do, but I don't have the ability to even jump off the top rope yet. So any aerial attacks I do will be off the second rope, the deadliest rope. So I think that's the second OSW reference. So yeah, one thing that's cool, check out my left leg there. That's a picture I actually took of my wrestling gear from my incredibly rare attempts and rubbish attempts at wrestling. And I brought that into the game just with the logo editor, and I thought that was pretty sweet. That is one nice thing about the creation stuff, is being able to bring your own things and your own tastes and your own looks and your own copyright violations into WWE 2K15. But yeah, I mean, we handle all kinds of slowly, and it actually makes the game harder, because I'm so used to countering with just the regular timing of the regular superstars, that because we're both moving so much more slowly in the career mode, that it actually makes the timing different and makes it harder.
Oh my! Lateral press. That's it. Wait, only 2? I don't think he got that.
But yeah, I mean, there's some concessions to kind of wrestling as show and drama. Here we go, that second rope. That was awful. They knocked the ref down. They should go and do something about that. Yeah, there's some concessions to what wrestling is like, you know, as sports entertainment. in that you are just supposed to win as many matches as you can, but you also have the silly sports standby of social media followers that you want to get up, and you also have star ratings at the end of your match that you want to keep high. But the way to a good star rating is kind of stupidly kayfabed. Like I would say, oh, have a lot of back and forth in your matches, but that isn't take a beating and then come back. It's perform enough reversals. Enhance drama in your matches, but again, that isn't about coming from underneath or, you know, taunting maybe or doing anything like that. Instead, it's about kicking out at 2.9 or whatever, doing really close near falls. So it's kind of alluding to that stuff. There's also a face and heel stat, which kind of comes off on, you know, sort of moral choices that you get throughout the campaign. And also to an extent how you behave in your matches, but I'm not convinced with, you know, how that will actually work and whether that actually works properly.
I'm not sure if he knows where he is right now. Look at that face of Doc.
I don't know why I chose Doc as my commentary name.
He may get the 3 count. 2 1/2.
And yeah, I mean, just a lot of the flavor stuff as well is kind of done. Like, you know, hey, Michael Cole and Jerry Lawler for everything, not even JBL. And yeah, it kind of, to an extent, I understand like JR is not with the company anymore, but it does hurt a lot of that archival stuff when you're going like best rivalries. It's like, well, we're gonna have, even if they do flesh this out with good rivalries, you know, to have, well, we're gonna have commentary over Austin and Hart, you know, or Austin and The Rock. And it's going to be surprised by Michael Cole going, don't go, don't go, don't go. You know, it's just, sorry for that, by the way. You know, that sucks, I think. And it just, there's a layer of authenticity that's missing. I understand, you know, I just like, hey, you know, what can you do, really? But you could arguably say that this is better, you know, because at least they aren't talking about Twitter every 2 seconds or, you know, trying to buy their bloody network. I got the network. I had the network, despite being in Japan. I bought the network for, I said bought it, I got it for free for a week, because they were doing their free trial, and I got a week's free trial on a VPN. So I tried that for a week, and it was okay. Crap. Like the stream worked really well, surprisingly well. In fact, given that I was streaming American content in Japan, I was impressed by it. But it's just there's so much content on that thing, which you'd think would be a good thing. Is he gonna do something?
His shoulders are down.
Got one. That's not heightening drama. I don't care.
He's got him up.
There we go. That should do it. Just like me.
Going to the top.
No.
This match has taken so much out of this guy.
There we go.
He's not gonna give up. But man, this has been physical.
Oh yeah. There's so much content and it's really badly curated on the network. Like there's a re-recommend thing, but that's always just, this is basically the stuff that we put up this week and WrestleMania, you know, because watch that. And it's like, why wouldn't you have, oh, here's John Cena, or here's Bray Wyatt, or here's, I don't know, Tyson Kidd. Like, here are their favorite pay-per-view matches. Watch them right now, you know? You could just make it up. It's wrestling. But anyway, I digress. Silly habit, I know, but I like to digress. I like the way the canvas looks. It looks really good, doesn't it? And the ring apron. Little details. Some of the little details are there and look great. Some of the little details aren't there or look awful. So, yeah. I don't know,
Here is
this
your
is
winner,
distinctly
the
middle of the road,
Reaper.
basically, I think, and...
One for the ages.
Sorry there, I think my PlayStation has heard me say PlayStation, or it thinks it heard me say PlayStation, and it's like, oh hey, do you want to go back to the home screen? No, I don't. I mean, I think it's middle of the road, as a lot of these WWE games are middle of the road. It's just kind of surprising that before I've loved the out of the ring stuff and hated the in ring stuff, and this year I kind of like the in ring stuff, and the out of the ring stuff is really disappointing. So adjust expectations accordingly, I think. If you're sort of a fan of actually in-ring wrestling and video games, it's probably the best it's been for a number of years. But you know, if you really like wrestling for all the other stuff that surrounds it, and you know, more power to you in that regard. You know, I mean, it's a genre, not a medium, or not a... Is that right? It's a medium, not a genre. There you go. You know, I think people like wrestling for different reasons, and I think you're going to find pleasure or disappointment depending on that. You know. Thanks, William Regal. He doesn't talk to you; he just sends you text messages and tweets, and that's kind of rubbish. But yeah, that's WWE 2K15. It's all right. Yeah, I was really looking forward to it, and it's all right. Chris Charlton for CojoPop.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.